I'll hit that. Just so all our participants know, we will be recording it and we provide the recording on our YouTube channel. You can also just put in the chat if you have a direct email address and Laura will send the recording to you if you want to keep it for a later date. And we'll get started. So today our topic is Know Your Why in July. And I picked this topic, well, our team picked this topic, partly because I'm seeing a lot of companies and clients kind of struggle with what comes next in this sort of post-COVID world. And it always kind of comes back to the knowing your why. And we found that a lot of people don't really know this exercise. They're not familiar with this concept that originated with Simon Sinek. He's a renowned speaker in the business circles. And so we thought today might be a good time to review the Know Your Why concept with the hope of being able to lean on your why as you move through sort of the next phase of doing business in our COVID world. So I'll walk you through a little bit of this exercise. And then, like I said, we'll go for about 15 minutes and I'll open it up to questions and we can discuss the exercise if you need some one-on-one. So like I said, this is based on the work of Simon Sinek. He actually has two books that I'd recommend. One is Start with Why, and the other one is Find Your Why. There's also a fantastic short and sweet video on YouTube that you can watch. It's probably 5 or 10 minutes that distills the concept of Find Your Why and walks you through a quick exercise of the golden circle, which we're going to talk about today, if you're just looking for the short and sweet version. He also has a pretty well-known TED Talk that expands on it a little bit. So if this little slide deck leaves you feeling short of the content, you can buy the books or watch his video. So let's start with what a why is. A why is going to be a belief, a cause, or a purpose. This is the reason that you are getting out of bed every day. And I want to just quickly review what a why is not, because I think a lot of times people immediately think of, well, you know, I'm in business to make money, or I want to, you know, send my kids to college, or I want to buy a bigger house. And that might be one of the outcomes of your endeavors, why you're in business. That could be what happens if you do a great job, but it shouldn't be your why. And I'll walk you through the exercise and hopefully it'll be clear to you, but try to be careful of that pitfall of having your why be one of these bullet points or something related. Why is your why important? Like I said earlier, I think the why gives you a really great anchor point when things get difficult. It's the thing that gets you out of bed in the morning. It reminds you of why you are in business. It's the very foundation of your business. It can also guide your business choices. If you're struggling with any sort of decision, be it accounting or human resources or expanding or contracting, revisiting your why is a great way to help guide you with those oftentimes inner gut answers. And if you know your why, it helps you get there faster. It helps you get through tough times like what we're experiencing with COVID, and can serve as your compass. And I like to say it's the why does anyone care about your business? The why is also important because ultimately the results you deserve will come if you live your why. And hopefully this will make sense when we get into it. First, let's visit a couple of real world examples so you start to get a sense of what am I talking about with a why. For a lot of you, you might have heard of Rotary. And Rotary is a global network of 1.2 million neighbors, friends, leaders, and problem solvers who see a world where people unite and take action to create lasting change across the globe in our communities and in ourselves. And I think practically speaking, if you think about what Rotary does in your community, it's not this. That is the nuts and bolts of what Rotary does. And we're going to talk a little bit about the how and the why and some other aspects of coming up with that. But keep in mind that overall, your why is going to be something much different than those two. Another one from Nike, our purpose moves us. Our purpose is to unite the world through sport and create a healthy planet active communities, and an equal playing field for all. Tesla, our mission is to accelerate the world's transition to sustainable energy. Notice there's nothing in here about electric cars. So in order to figure out what your why is, we're going to move through an exercise called the golden circle. And this is just a quick little visual. And you can see your why is at the center of the circle. This is what your business purpose is. And then the other two circles I alluded to earlier, it's your how and it's your what. So for example, just going back to Rotary, how do they fulfill their why, and what are they quote unquote selling is going to be much different than their why. So the how is going to answer, do you do, how do you do what you do? And the what is, what do you do? Just to break it down a little bit more clearly, and we're giving you our example as an agency, the what is, what does your business do? The products and or services that you sell. With Stitchcraft Marketing, we make magic for brands in the fiber and fabric industry by specializing in content marketing, strategy, and execution. We customize programs to showcase the brand, engage the customer base, and help them generate sales. So this is the day in and day out. This is the what we're doing. And then next, the how you're doing. How do you deliver what you do for the world? What sets you apart from your competitors? And how do you deliver that in a way that's consistent with your why? So again, Stitchcraft Marketing, our how is a little bit different. It's our niche. It's what makes us different. So we always like to say we're knitters, spinners, quilters, and sewists, and that really makes a difference. We speak the language, we're immersed in the culture, and we thoroughly understand the buying behavior of the craft customer. We bring years of skill and experience in creating compelling social marketing campaigns that help our clients sell more products. And then we arrive at the why. After we know the other two components, we can answer this question. Our why is to support a sustainable, thriving craft industry that celebrates the joy of creativity. This is the thing that gets us out of bed in the morning. This is the reason that we have an agency, and it informs all the other things that we do as an agency. Okay, so how do you craft this for yourself? I'll give you a couple of different ways to take a look at it. I know some people are visual people, and you can create a little exercise like this, and it's sort of hard to see laying down here like it's horizontal, but I think you kind of get the idea. You start with the first why. And what Simon says is you just move your way through asking yourself the question of why 5 times. And when you get to the finish, you should be closer to the core of your why. So you might start with a why that is, why do you have, a yarn shop? Well, I like having a large selection and inventory of yarns that I can share with customers. Well, why? Why do you like to do that? Well, I like that because I'm good at selling and educating people. And well, why? Why are you good at educating and selling? And then the next one, well, I like to share those things because I get a lot of joy and creativity out of doing those things. Well, why? Why? And you keep going. You ask yourself why, and then why, and why. And it might be 5, it might be 3, it might be 10 different incarnations of this exercise to help you arrive at your why. Another exercise that you can do is called start with the end. And you kind of create your primary aim working backwards. So you start with, imagine yourself writing your legacy. What does your legacy look like? Some other people, my coach has always told me, what are people saying in your eulogy about your business life? When it's all over and it's all said and done, what are the most important things that you want people to remember about the work that you did? So that would be also, your legacy. And then you write in, well, 10 years before that, what's happening in your business that helps contribute to the legacy. And you work your way in 10, or you could even do 5 or 3-year increments, coming all the way back to where you are today in order to really understand what is it you're doing today that is your why, that will then help you to create the legacy that you're envisioning for your business. And you can do both these exercises at the same time also. Threw in here a couple of other methods for finding your why. If those things don't resonate with you, you can ask yourself some of these questions. You know, what was a day when you were absolutely nailing it? Was it a sales opportunity? Was it a special product or service you were offering? I'm not going to read all of these, but you can see here, this will give you just a couple of other ideas on how to really nail down what your why is. And the one I love the most is, you know, when you wake up in the morning, what is that first thing that you're thinking about? What is the thing that excites you most about going to work every day? All right. Like I said, just short and sweet, give you the little taste of the exercise. We'll open it up for questions. If you have a question, you can just unmute yourself and shout out, or you can raise your hand. I see we got a couple people on the call today. So please feel free.
Looks like Tammy added her why to our chat.
Oh, great.
For Thimbles, which is inspiring creativity by providing a pleasing product assortment and educational support to sewers in a fun and friendly environment.
Great. I love that, Tammy. Now, Tammy, did you actually do an exercise with your team or with Jane to try to come up with what your why is?
Tammy's just got comments. She said yes, years ago.
Years ago. Okay. Yeah. And I think if it's something you do at the beginning of the incarnation of your business, it can be that steady guidepost along the way. You always can go back to your why. Your new employees always know what your why is. And so there's no question about why you're in business and what you're doing. I think another example for us too, that I will share, you know, whenever you feel like you don't know the next step for a certain question for your business, like I said earlier, whether to expand or to contract, or more recently, I'll give the example of some of the diversity and inclusion issues that have been challenging for some businesses. You know, being able to go back to your why and really understand the purpose for your business will help you navigate some of those more challenging issues that come to your business, and with, you know, hiring, firing decisions, with cultural decisions. You know, what kind of a culture are you going to create at your business? Well, knowing what your why is can oftentimes help you inform the culture, and then will help you bring in the kinds of employees that are going to be a really good fit for your particular business. Anne or Linda, have either of you done an exercise like this? Have you worked through doing a why exercise? Anne?
I haven't done one formally before, but I like the idea of the 5 whys. Mm-hmm. I sort of got a few steps in as I was listening.
Okay. What kind of a business do you have?
So I'm a podcaster. I podcast about knitting, and when COVID shut everything down, I started a small online festival, okay, where we sort of travel from our Wi-Fi to 8 different countries in 8 different days, and do classes and learn about the area and things like that, all using online resources.
Cool.
So I started with, why do I podcast? And got to the fact that I like to talk to others about knitting, okay, and why, mm-hmm, and that I'm curious about knitting and don't have many local people to talk to about it.
Okay.
And that's as far as I got, just because we were moving on.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Well, I would encourage you to, you know, continue that exercise, continue to ask your whys. Do you have someone else in the business that you partner with, or that might be able to help you walk through the exercise?
I do. I have a few people who also are podcasters, and we sort of bounce ideas off one another. And then I have a close friend who's a yarn manufacturer, a small scale yarn manufacturer too. And we sort of function as a brain trust for each other, I guess you would say.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's great. They often recommend, Simon Sinek and the folks that really purport this exercise say one good way to do it is to bring in someone else that knows your business really well, and you can bounce the ideas off of each other and have somebody kind of hold you accountable through the why exercise. So that might be something you should take a look at.
Indeed. Thank you.
Yeah. And don't forget to take a look at the how and the what also, because a lot of times your why is so kind of buried in there as well. So. Linda, do you want to comment on your experience with the why? Is this something you've thought about before, or you've done an exercise with that already?
She commented that she's done it for other venues or reasons, such as in career counseling, basically forming a rationale or mission statement.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, I think a mission statement can sometimes intersect with a why. A lot of times companies will have two distinct answers for that, a mission statement and a why statement that will differ slightly. So we get that question a lot. So, all right. Now, I guess unless there's other feedback or questions about the why, we always offer office hours. It's every other week. We present the topic, but this is also just an opportunity for you to get some free consulting. If there is some other challenge or a question that you have, me and or someone on the team would be happy to provide feedback. So give a few minutes if you want to type those in or unmute yourself if you have a certain question. We'll provide the opportunity for that also. And maybe while we're waiting for those to come in, Laura, do you want to share with us more about the next office hours, the date and time?
Sure. The next office hours is going to be 2 weeks from today. That's July 28th, same time, 2 p.m. Central Time, or that would be 3 p.m. or p.m. Mountain Time, or noon Pacific Time, depending on where you are. And it's actually going to be the second half of finding your why or knowing your why. What Leanne talked about, how your why can guide you to make decisions. We're going to talk a little bit about how we used our why to kind of guide how we pivoted in COVID, and sort of how we continue to do so. And then also for in situations like Leanne discussed, like with the recent diversity and inclusion discussions, and just give you some ideas on how you can look at your why and use it to sort of formulate responses to situations that come up, those being the two most recent.
Mm-hmm. All right, fantastic. Any other comments that you're seeing, Laura?
Nope, I don't have any others. I know we have Rebecca on the call and Karen as well. I don't know if you guys have anything to ask, or you don't have to. We kind of like to open it up to anything that anybody is needing.
I have something, this is Anne. I have something I came across today, and I'm curious about its application in the crafting world. I'm trying to sort of get beyond the basics of social media, my social media stuff, and get into some of the finer points. And one of the things I came across today was the follower-followee ratio.
Okay.
And read somewhere, that you should be aiming to have 2 times as many people following you as you follow, or, and I don't know how arbitrary that is, and whether it holds true for the crafting world. Because as I was going through finding, because I know, you get a lot of these followers who are like some dude usually who is just posting pictures of him, obviously trying to find some ladies. And so those were the easy ones to go and remove. But then as I started to remove other people, it just started to feel mean.
Okay.
And I'm like, why am I doing this? Just because some webpage told me this. Does this follower-followee ratio have any basis in fact or practicality at all?
Okay. That's a great question. I'm going to throw it out to my team. Laura, do you want to take that question?
I was going to say, I don't tend to put a lot of stock in it. I think honestly, you know, what you're looking for in your social media is to showcase your brand and show what you have to offer, but also to create some kind of meaningful connection with people. No, you're not going to be able to create a meaningful connection with everyone who follows you. And you are going to get some people who follow you who you're going to think, I don't know why, you know, you won't necessarily think your interests overlap or whatnot. You know, try and respond to people who are not just following you, but who are also, you know, leaving comments on what you do. Try and start conversations. It's important that you follow people who are really interested in what you do, you know, sort of your people, the people who are going to support you and continue to interact with you. And knowing the difference between those two is sometimes hard, but I would say, you know, usually when someone follows me, I go and look at their profile. Are they a knitter? You know, that's or a crafter of some sort. Like, do they craft? If they craft, then they probably followed me because they're interested in seeing what I'm doing. And I go and look at what they're doing. And if what I see in their feed interests me, I follow them back, you know, and I look at their posts and I try and leave a comment on a post to let them know that I'm interested in engaging with them. So, I mean, no, you're not always going to do that to every single person who follows you. But I'm not sure that any particular ratio is anything more than arbitrary, to be honest. I mean, again, you're not going to be able to have a meaningful conversation with everyone who follows you. So those numbers are going to lag sometimes. But if you feel interested in the person who followed you, follow them back. And I don't, you know, every so often I do call my followers for people's content that I don't think is particularly interesting, or if I've never really heard from them. But that's just, I feel like I'm scrolling through my feed and I'm not seeing things that are interesting to me. So, or things that are relevant to what I'm working on. I don't know if that helps, but.
No, that's good. That's good to know, because you know, sometimes people throw things out there and you don't know how authoritative they are. Or if it's just, you know, them trying to sound like they know what's going on.
Well, and, you know, follower counts. I was listening to a podcast today that talked about the fact that follower counts are kind of irrelevant anyway, because just because someone follows you doesn't mean they're invested in you or they're going to convert to a sale, or, you know, they're just follower counts.
Right.
So, I mean, you have to concentrate on, like I said, trying to find your people and creating relationships with them. And whatever that is, whether it's following or leaving comments or responding to comments that are left for you, or just liking the comments that are left for you, you know, you want to interact with the people who want to interact with you.
And I would just add one thing that is often overlooked is you follow, the people that you follow don't have to just be people that followed you, but make a short list of industry folks, designers, other influencers, trade organizations, professional organizations, you know, those kinds of accounts are great to follow. And you'd be surprised how much great content you'll get coming across your feeds. But that's often an overlooked exercise, is to, you know, who are you following? That's big in the industry.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome, Anne. Thanks for the question. I don't see anything else in chat. Anyone else on the call? Linda, Georgie? Go ahead, Georgie.
I don't have anything to add. I just thank you very much. I'm going to try those 5 whys, because I'm having trouble really zeroing in on what it, I mean, I love getting up in the morning and getting started. So, yeah, but why?
What kind of a business do you have, Georgie?
Knit and crochet designer.
Okay, great.
I believe my why is because I love the finishing part of both crafts. And I was a professional finisher for many years. So it's kind of where my burn is to make my craft, my followers, do the best finishing final product that they can do. So I try to insert as much instruction into my patterns as I can, not just say, okay, block and finish.
Yeah.
You know, really take them through as well as I can.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it sounds to me like you can articulate some of the core heart of your business. And to me, it does have something to do with the finishing part. So, you know, stay focused on that as you go through the exercise of why. And that will help you differentiate, you know, your design business as opposed to, you know, Steph's design business or Laura's design business or someone else's design business. Yours has that unique differentiator of that finishing piece. So I would encourage you to go through that five questions exercise, but keep that top of your mind, because I can definitely hear that in your voice, that the finishing piece is really central to why you're doing what you're doing.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, and let us know if you need help with it. All right, sounds good. Well, this might be the fastest office hours we've ever done. We coming in at a half hour, but I do really appreciate having you guys on the call. It's so great to just get the one-on-one feedback from everybody, and I appreciate the participation and you guys just showing up consistently every time we offer this. So as Laura said, the next one will be 2 weeks from now. If you're signed up for our newsletter list, you will get the reminder with the login information. And if you'd like the recording, go ahead and just let us know in the chat or email Laura, and we'll get that off to you. Thanks, everybody. Have a great day.
Bye.